Those human bot flies are terrifying. They literally lay their eggs in your flesh, and the maggots grow and eat you, and you have to pick them out of your flesh.
That was like a person being infested with human bot flies was like the first internet video that really like made me realize that the internet is a fucking vile place. That was there was something called the Gauntlet. Did you guys ever have to do the Gauntlet? Yes.
I think we watched it on the show once.
I think one of the first ones is a human bot fly infestation, if I'm remembering the Gauntlet correctly. And then it gets to like, this girl breaks her femur. Then you have to move on to the next one. But I remember specifically the human bot flying, like I think like an old woman's eye or something.
Yeah, I everything else in that gauntlet we had to run was totally wiped from my memory after that Ukrainian guy beat someone to death with a hammer in the woods.
Two man's
suddenly I was like oh man, can we go back to those sweet botfly videos?
You're right. I wonder how current me, internet hardened 15 years later would deal with that video, because at the time I kept watching it with this mind towards it's not too late. It's not too late. And then you switch over and you're like, could you just hit him harder? He's still alive. It's too late.
I feel like with a lot of the internet content, it starts because I remember like in high school and college seeing more of like the intense side of the internet with that violent stuff and being like, this stuff doesn't even faze me. I've seen so much horrible things on E-Bombs World or whatever other sites in the early 2000s. And then you come around to being like, oh no, actually this stuff does upset me again. And I'm back to that now where I'm like, even if I could watch this without it ruining my day, it is not an image I want in my head at all. That's why I don't like any of the death videos or war videos. I'm
so with you, Taylor. I went through a stretch where I was like, hey, look at this. I'm like trying to like show it to other people. But now I don't know if it's like I've grown like empathy for like the person going through something gruesome, something horrible. It must be that, because now those types of videos like really, really get to me. Like they ruin my night, actively ruin my night.
The only thing that's even close to that I watch is the Ukrainian war. And I almost exclusively watch Ukrainians killing Russians. And so I'm like, these are the bad guys. So when bad things happen to them, they have it coming. But every now and then something so bad will happen to a Russian that I'm like, goddamn. I mean, you already got him. Stop.
Did you see the guy? He was hit by something dropped from a drone, call it a grenade or a mortar or whatever. And he's in really bad shape. So he pulls the grenade that he had on him already to finish the job. There's a certain kind of hopelessness to it.
It's awful.
I've seen every iteration of that. I've seen them suicide with the rifle. I've seen suicide with grenades. I've seen their buddies finish them off without like clearly they'd had a conversation. Like if I get blown,
we hang out in the same internet spaces. It would seem.
Yeah. The best or worst maybe is when the drone is coming after the guy and you're seeing through the camera on the drone, and they'll throw stuff at the drone. Like they'll throw the rifle at it. And then the one guy who threw a can of gasoline at it. And it was like, dude, you should have just taken the explosion. Now you're going to, because the gasoline explodes like a fucking internet fireball and just roasts him right there. He's all on fire and stuff. I don't like seeing people burn alive for sure. I've seen a good bit of that. Saw some Israelis burn alive, I think, a while back. They got blown out of a tank. I saw, and maybe it was during Syrian conflicts from 15 years ago, where they shot a rocket at a tank and they blew it up. And the inside of the tank had become an inferno. And the guys are crawling out of it, just fully engulfed. Like they're not going to survive. They're just trying to get out of hell. Just crawling out of, it's a furnace basically that they're inside of. Don't like that either. Don't like seeing people get burned.
Yeah. I just avoid all of it. I don't like any of those drone videos where it's like someone sees that they're dead and they're going to die and there's no avoiding it. And it's like,
sometimes they beg.
It's like literally shooting. It's like the least sport. And I know it's war. It's not hunting, but it's like the least sporting thing ever. And it's just like, oh my God, like this person is probably like dragged to the front line. Like wonder what their family's like, they probably don't want to be here. Like just
probably an 18-year-old kid too. That's the like
old man.
Oh man. I said when I was like a teenager, I'm like, I draw the line at cartel videos. Those are the ones I won't watch. Now, like it's everything. Like I don't want to watch any of that stuff.
Those guys have like a very Looney Tunesy, gory way of doing things where it's like, hey, check this out. We're going to cut his fingers off and his head off, and then he's going to be picking his nose.
It's
like
for them. It's
awful.
art, man. It's like performative art for these guys. It's disgusting. In Colombia, they was literally called cartel art. They would leave as gruesome a scene as possible. There's something called the Colombian necktie, where they would like bring your tongue through a slit in your throat, and they'd leave like a scene of like pretend businessmen with all Colombian neckties doing all sorts of business with money in front of them. But like, that was it's called cartel art. It's disgusting.
That's so horrible. The amount of time you have to have.
Everybody's a critic.
To be like, all right, we solved it. We killed our enemies. Well, we've got 4 hours to burn because we also control the police. So have fun with it. Like, bring in the most sadistic guy ever. Give him a fucking paring knife. Give him the lime knife from behind the bar.
It's psychological warfare, and it works. When I remember when I first heard about that guy getting castrated in Ukraine, I was like, whoa, I'm not even going to go over there to take pictures, because I was thinking about going to at least record something or watch or see, or like I wanted to be there and see what was going on. It seemed so monumental. And then they're like, yeah, they caught an American, they raped him to death, and then they cut this Ukrainian's balls off. And I was like, dude, I don't even want to be on that continent now. I know better. And the cartel, I feel like same thing. Cartel's so scary. Like, can you imagine? Like, there is a lot of money in that, in the drug distribution and smuggling business in Mexico. I think I want to fire my own little startup up. Oh wait, they did what? That's the competition? Nah, I'm gonna go back to accounting school. Like it's so scary. You don't want to be part of that.
Yeah. Yeah, it is scary. They're pretty ruthless.
Yeah.
I've never seen just like a normal killing on there. Like
I haven't watched it since, it's probably been 15 years. I remember I was at the gun store, and my buddy was like, check this out, man. And it was the chainsaw video. That was the last cartel thing I saw. And it was almost against my will. But since then, I've heard, because I watch these podcasts with guys talking about the cartel and how crazy it is down there, that they'll blow people up in fields with like dynamite and stuff, and all sorts of like wacky, over the top, almost theatrical killings. And again, it's psychological warfare. I would be so scared to like fuck with those guys if I knew that's what was going to happen to me. Like, you could see being gangster enough to get into a gunfight with somebody. Like, oh yeah, you're going to shoot me? Well, I'll shoot back. And they're like, no, we're going to torture you for days. We're going to pump you up with drugs to keep you alive extra long so we can torture you for weeks.
We're going to bury you up to your neck with just your head sticking out. And then we're going to take an elephant that we trained to play soccer. And we're going to, if you run into it, it's going to kick your head. And then you're like, that's a pet detective. That's a pet detective.
Dude, well, it's those cartel guys like that made my dad make the decision to flee Colombia, because we came as refugees, and it was like this time in Colombia where the Medellin cartel and the Cali cartel had fallen, but like these offshoot cartels started taking over in different areas. And my dad, being like a fairly high up accountant for somebody that was also making money nefariously, he was threatened numerous times with like photos of me and my sister at our school, for example. So
did your family claim asylum?
Yeah. So we originally left under the guise of tourism. We bought tickets. Hey, we're gonna be in the United States for 6 months, but we already had a lawyer lined up here to claim asylum, all legally. We ended up changing our minds like almost like last minute, and ended up seeking asylum in Canada after being in the States for about a month.
Good pick.
It was also just awful timing. We landed in Newark, New Jersey on August 30th, 2001. So like 12 days later, that area is just a fucking mess. And then I think like 2 months later, maybe you guys can correct me if I'm wrong, I think anthrax started being mailed to people.
Right.
Yeah. So it was like a combination of things like that. Like, I think we're going to Canada. we're
Dude,
going to
anthrax post office was like, they're like, the first heroes on the front lines were firemen. and now it's mailman. And the whole country was like, nah, it's not you.
Yeah, I get what you're trying to do, but
Exactly.
nah, how about you get my fucking shit here on time? How about that, man? So you kind of lived Ozark.
Yeah, a little bit. Yeah, like it's been really interesting now being 32 years old, now being able to like have a drink with my dad, and my dad almost like revealing the documents that have been censored throughout all of these years, and like now telling me like the real side of like why we did this, why we did that. Like I'll give you an example of something that he declassified maybe like 3 months ago. We're just having a drink. He's like, Santi, do you remember your friend Jeffrey? I'm like, yeah, I remember Jeffrey. For context, Jeffrey was an older boy, about like 4 years older than me. He was our barber's son, and he's the one that like introduced me to like video games. We would play. When my dad would go get his haircut, we'd hang out. We got there once for a haircut, and then Jeffrey is vegetative on a bed. I was like, oh my God. And I'm 7, old enough to know like something happened here.
Mm-hmm.
And my dad says like Jeffrey fell from a balcony. He fell from the balcony, hit his head, and we don't know if he's going to make it. He ended up eventually making it, having a pretty normal life, but with a lot of problems. And a couple months ago, my dad's like, you remember Jeffrey? I'm like, yeah. Yeah, he didn't fall from a balcony. He found his dad's gun and accidentally shot himself. I'm like, oh my God. Oh my God. I'm like, Dad, why would you not tell me that? What, like, I'd be scared of guns. I'd be the gun safety. He's like, well, you were being kind of a dickhead by our balcony, so like we thought this was a good way to teach you a lesson.
He's like, well, I don't have any firearms, but I do have a balcony.
Well, this is tragic, but life has given me lemons here.
You see what happened to your friend Jeffrey? He didn't eat all his vegetables.
That's what happens when you don't study.
Jeffrey, it's tragic. He talked back and he didn't do his homework.
He goes, did you realize that they lived in a 1-story bungalow? No.
Oh, that's
so he's
great.
been like revealing a lot of these in like his time in the 80s and 90s, living in Medellin with the cartels, like some pretty crazy stuff. Like my mom has seen some really bad stuff because she lived in like a fairly dangerous suburb in Medellin called La Estrella during the height of Pablo Escobar, and she lived right next to the police station, which you would think is the safest place that you could possibly live in. But in the late 80s, Pablo put an unconditional hit on every police officer in all of Colombia, whether it was a police officer, federal agent, whatever it might be. You kill one, you get money. And so my mom said like daily bodies being dragged in and out of that police station. Oh man, like fuck. Thanks for coming to Canada, man. Like this is I have it pretty good.
Guys, what it's like to be raised by an accountant, and they laugh and laugh, but here we are.
It's intense.
Yeah.
High risk, high reward.
One and the same, Woody. Yeah.